Welcome back, dear listeners, to another powerful episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. I'm your host, Avik, and today we are talking to the people who look fine on paper, the high performers, the leaders, the caregivers, the ones everyone leans on. So the truth is, a lot of those same people are running on fumes. Brains wired for crisis, bodies stuck in survival mode, and nervous systems quietly screaming for a reset. So, our guest today is here to talk about what it really takes to move from the high functioning to healthy. So, please welcome Dr. Melanie Gray. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me as a guest. I'm very honored.
Amazing, amazing. So, Dr. Melanie, like before we delve deep into the discussion today, I'll quickly love to introduce you with our listeners. So, dear listeners, Dr. Melanie is a registered nurse, educator, and the wellness strategist with over 20 years in healthcare leadership and higher education. So, she is a nationally recognized expert in trauma informed leadership, burnout prevention, and workplace wellness. So, she is the founder of Melanie Gray Solutions, where she helps leaders and women move from reaction to regulation using her signature stop it method. So her work bridges neuroscience and compassion, biology and leadership. And she's also the author of Regulate First, Lead Second, Master Your Biology, Transform Your Leadership. So her core message is simple and very aligned with this show. So if you want healthy organizations, you start with healthy nervous systems. And if you want sustainable performance, you start with trauma informed self leadership. So, if you want a better life, you design a wellness blueprint that actually fits your real world. So, today we are weaving three threads like from high functioning to healthy, healing the nervous system behind burnout, and trauma informed self leadership, like how your history shows up in your habits. Designing your personal wellness blueprint, small shifts for a healthier mind and the life. So, I'll not take much of your time. Let's get started. Welcome to the show again.
Yes, this is a very important topic.
Uh-huh.
I love how you said that so often there are those individuals
Mhm.
that we admire and they really are working on fumes. People always tell you how well they're doing. Very few people feel safe enough with their friends or their family to really tell the truth. But it's important for your listeners to understand that they must be willing to tell themselves the truth. And they must be willing to stop benchmarking their view of themselves by what they see others do and what they see
Mhm.
on social media. My dream is to have is that one day everyone would appreciate themselves because they, as a gift, because they are an individual with a member of humanity on the
Mm.
planet. It is not about title. It is not about money or income. It is not about things. It's because you
Mm.
are a gift.
Correct. Correct. Exactly. You talk about the trauma response that show up as perfectionism, shutdown, people pleasing, over control. So, for someone hearing that and thinking, wait, that sounds like my personality. So then how do you help them see that difference between this is just who I am and this is how my nervous system learned to survive? So what do you say?
Well, I think that that's two things. Some
Mm,
things about us we have learned.
mm,
Some behaviors are learned, and some of our learned behaviors, in all honesty, have served us well in some manner. For
mhm,
example, that leader who has risen to a substantial position, some of the uh, negative stressed behaviors may have
mm,
actually helped them. but they have to be willing to say when they're going to put the brakes on it and when they need to change, when they need to pivot. I shouldn't say. So some behaviors are learned, both positive and negative, to your point, and we have to decide, look and be honest, scan our life and our relationship. So I think part of understanding what is working and what isn't is looking at your whole life and not just what you do in your career or profession. What do you really want to be known for? So, if you can rise to the top and your marriage is great, your relationships with your children are great, you're spending enough time with your friends and your family, and you feel good about that, maybe your lifestyle, your busyness is working for you. Sometimes we're functioning out of the past traumas of rejection, of being told you're never going to be good enough, being told you must push and rise, uh, being told that no one's ever going to respect you if you don't reach a certain level. Those are traumatic kind of thoughts and triggers that sometimes propel us to do things that we really are not all about in the first place. So I think having a reckoning moment with yourself is important. What is really important to me? And if I walk away from everything, though, from my title, from my job, if I choose to take a lesser pay for less stress, people might look at me kind of strange, right? But am I good with it? What are you good with?
Yep.
And I think that's super important to really. So the stop it framework starts with stopping and to scan. S is for scan. What is happening? What do I see in my whole life? I think sometimes you have to get a pen and paper, and write it down. I'm having more arguments at home. I'm snapping at people. My children don't talk to me. I haven't seen my parents. I've missed all the family events this year. You have to write those things down and look at it and say, is this a picture of what I'm happy with? And if it's not, then you have to tell yourself the truth. Okay, say, okay, this isn't working. What am I going to do? I need to pivot. I don't like the headaches. I don't like my gut wrench feeling all of the time. I don't like seeing my safe self gain all this weight. And then once you've told yourself the truth, you have to be okay with owning your yes and your no. Yes, I'm going to continue. No, I'm not. There's some things I'm going to change. And then P, you have to prioritize your pivot. You have to make yourself a priority. You have to put yourself on your own calendar. You may have to take some obligations off. Maybe you don't have to volunteer for 5 different things and be the leader in everything in your community and be on every board. Some things you have to take off. You cannot do it all or have it all. And then you have to be intentional. What are you intentional about rest? Intentional about eating properly, intentional about exercise, intentional about spending time with the people that you really say are of value. And then you have to continue a lifelong journey, of transformation because we didn't get to where we are overnight. We're not going to change overnight. Um, the science says that we change it takes 90 days to change a behavior. So we have to decide that realize we're on a journey of transformation from stress and burnout to a life of balance that has real meaning for us.
Right. Exactly. And like you were mentioning of the stop at method. So It is about moving from reaction to regulation. So for the people who is in constant go mode, can you walk us through what stop it actually looks like in the middle of a stressful moment?
Yes. Well, first you have to, when you feel yourself being dysregulated, you're in a stressful environment, a stressful situation, and you recognize it, breathe rather than clenching your teeth, uh, clenching your hands, tightening up. Just take a deep breath. Inhale through your mouth and then hold it and exhale. Tell the person or the situation, say, I'm going to get back to you in the moment.
Mm.
Breathe and don't feel like you have to give a response at that very minute. People want one, but it doesn't mean you can't say, let me get back to you in 5. Let me get a little more information and circle back to you. I promise to do that.
Mm.
You don't have to fire off a response to every email. You can read and pause on it
Mm.
because we teach people how to treat us.
Yep.
And we don't, if we're teaching them that we're going to always give them an answer right away, we have to change that because we don't have to.
Mm. Exactly. Mm.
We don't have to. You can walk. I mean, shake your hands if you're in a stressful moment. Shake your hands, stand up, move your body so that you disengage that moment of stress to being aware of yourself and bringing yourself into a centered place of a moment of calm so that you don't react or overreact because those reactions and overreactions can be costly as well
Correct.
to in our health, our integrity, and our reputation
Exactly.
as well.
Exactly. So, like, what have your clients reported after using it consistently? Like, do they notice changes, like first in their body, their decisions, their relationship? Um, where do the impact tend to show up the fastest?
Well, each person is different.
Mm.
Some people have made changes in their career, where they've taken lesser positions, but they're finding more
Yeah.
overall, satisfaction in their life. Some people have put greater boundaries on work and are spending more time with their family, and they
Mhm.
express, um, much more satisfaction with that. I feel more balanced. I feel more attuned. My relationships with my kids are better. Some people go back and retrain for a different skill. They say, this particular role is not working for me anymore. I think I'm going to go. Like one young woman told me last week, she's going to leave nursing and go back to school to IT because she realizes that's what she needs to do for work-life balance. And so people come to different um, conclusions once they've taken a good inventory, an honest inventory, of their lives, because, we think we're gonna be in our careers forever, and I think if a person is listening and they're 20, 30, 40 years old for sure, they're looking at, 20, 30, 40 years of work, but see, you could be done with work at 60, and then what are you gonna do with the other 20 years, or the other 30 years that follow? And it's amazing that people, once you retire, no one remembers really what you did. They just replace you and move on. And that's a whole nother conversation that of stress, but and the need to repivot. But I think it's important for your listeners to know that this state or position that you're in, you may not always be in. So what do you really want to be known for? How do you really want to make an impact?
Mm. I agree. And like for someone who feels overwhelmed by trying to fix everything at once, for them, what is the one keystone shift that you would recommend? Like a small change that creates a ripple effect across their energy, mood, and resilience.
Well, I believe that you have to know that you don't have to solve everything at once, and who
Yeah.
you have to be willing to recognize others.
Mm,
See, you have if you're working with a team, if you're, using work for an example,
mhm,
there are other smart people on your team. Let them be
mhm,
smart. Collaborate with them. My mentor told me that we must lift as we climb. So, as a leader, if you want to rise, really, you need to build strength under you so that you're not having to overwhelm yourself by having to respond to everything, because that in itself is a culture that you have created that you might want to pivot from. Everyone must come to you. You have to sign up and everything. You can empower others,
yeah.
and that's going to reduce your strength. It's going to help your engagement. It's going to free you up to be your more creative self and to really have the brain space to continue to be your best. So my first the tip I would say is, if you are feeling like you have to answer all the things, then you must not be paying attention to the people around you. And so you must
Mm,
do that because that's fair to you and it's more fairness for them.
got it. Got it. Yeah. Phew, amazing. I mean, and like your line, I really love that. Like healing people heals organizations is very, very strong. And for the leaders and the professionals who are listening, what does it look like to apply trauma informed self leadership at the work?
It means that
Mhm.
you as a leader are
Yeah.
really connecting with your team.
Mm,
So you recognize that everyone you meet may have had
mm,
some type of
mhm,
trauma. Or and so you treat them with kindness, you
mhm,
treat them with empathy, you
mhm,
see everyone in the room, and you value everyone's voice. And you don't judge those individuals who might
mhm,
not be talkative or who might not be really effervescent, because just because they're quiet doesn't mean that they have less intelligence. It doesn't make
yes.
them less hungry or ambitious, but they may have had something in their life that has not allowed them to develop that skill of being conversant, of bringing forth their
Mm,
ideas. Maybe no one ever validated them. Maybe you as a leader never validated them, and and so they don't feel comfortable in the room.
mm,
So, part of leadership is nurturing others, seeing them, giving them opportunity to grow. We must treat people the way that we want to be treated.
mm,
And that is what trauma informed care looks like. It considers what may have happened in someone's life, not what is wrong with them when we don't get the response or the personality that we would expect in a particular role. People are still learning and growing. We're all still learning and growing. We're all lifelong learners. And none of us just arrive, right? We learn. So a leader has to have that kind of compassion. And they have to
mm.
teach their leaders, their managers, depending on what level you're at, you have to teach the leaders that report to you how to be kind and do those
Okay.
things that you want.
So, if one advice you have to give to the listeners today, then what that will be?
My advice to every listener is for them to understand that they are a gift and they
Mm,
have value, that is and their value is not based solely on their profession or their title or their income. That they are whole people that have uh talents and gifts, even a gift of kindness, the gift of serving that they need to embrace. And you can't monetize everything, but what in the whole what do you want to be known for? So I want every listener to know that they are a gift, that they have value, that they have many talents, and they have to decide how they want to make an impact for others and for themselves. How do you want to live? What has real meaning for you because you are a gift? And hey, no one has to agree with you that you're the gift. You have
Yeah.
to believe you're the gift. You can't wait to be validated that you're a gift. You have to know it. A Rolex watch does not wait to be validated.
Mm.
It's a piece of equipment that knows it has value. You have to know that you have value. And when you know it and believe in yourself, then others are going to catch the fire of what you believe.
Yes, very true. Very true. That's really awesome, I'd say. And for everyone who's listening, who's been white knuckling their way through a life, here is a very simple reflection and the challenge from this conversation. Reflection is that sometime today ask yourself, am I actually healthy or just high functioning? Notice what your body says before your brain starts justifying, right? And as a challenge for the next 7 days, run one stop it moment today. Like once per day, when you feel rushed, stressed, or triggered, pause. Notice your breath. Unlench your jaw. Feel your feet on the floor. And ask yourself, like, what is the most regulated next step I can take right now? That act then from there you take that place, not from the panic. And also choose one keystone shift. Just pick one small habit that supports your nervous system, like a hard cutoff time for walk 3 days a week, um, 10 phone free minutes before the bed, and one short walk during the day without multitasking. Commit to it for 7 days, and no perfection, just consistency, right? Because moving from high functioning to healthy is not just about doing more, but it is all about doing life from a regulated, compassionate, and grounded nervous system, one small choice at a time. So if someone wants to connect with you, Dr. Melanie, how they can connect?
They can go to Dr. Melanie Gray, theconfidencecoach.com.
Amazing. So, dear listeners, I'll put all the details and the links into the show notes for your easy reference. And with this hope, until next time, be healthy, be happy, and keep smiling. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.